July 15th, 2020, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. The world's richest man was about to lose control of his Twitter account, and the person who took it was 17 years old. This isn't a story about a simple hack. This is about a teenager who infiltrated the most secure company on the planet using nothing but a phone call. He didn't just hack Elon Musk, he hacked Barack Obama, Bill Gates,
Kim Kardashian,
Kanye West, Apple, Uber, all in the same afternoon. And what he did next would expose vulnerabilities so terrifying that even the FBI couldn't believe it was possible. This is the story of Graham Ivan Clark and how one high school kid brought the entire digital world to its knees. Let's trace the case from the beginning. Tampa, Florida, 2020. Graham Clark was 17 years old. To his neighbors, he was just another kid, quiet, kept to himself, stayed in his room most of the day. But inside that room, Graham was building something dangerous. While other teenagers were posting TikToks and playing Fortnite, Graham was studying the architecture of social engineering. Graham understood something far more powerful. The weakest link in any security system isn't the technology, it's the people. By age 15, he'd already made his first $1 million. Not from stocks, not from cryptocurrency trading, from stealing. Graham had discovered the dark web marketplace for verified social media accounts, Instagram handles, Snapchat usernames, Twitter accounts with blue check marks, and he became one of the best account hijackers on the planet. His specialty? OG accounts, original accounts with rare, valuable usernames. A single Instagram handle could sell for $50,000. A Twitter username? Sometimes 6 figures. But Graham wasn't satisfied. He'd mastered the small game. Now he wanted to prove he could hack the impossible. He wanted to hack Twitter itself. And on July 15th, 2020, he found his way in. Twitter, San Francisco headquarters, one of the most secure tech companies in the world. Thousands of employees, military-grade encryption, multi-factor authentication on every account. But Graham didn't try to hack the system. He hacked the people. It started with a phone call. Graham, using a spoofed number, called Twitter's IT department. His voice? Calm, professional, confident.
Hey, this is the Twitter IT security team. We're doing urgent maintenance on the admin tools. I need you to verify your credentials.
The employee hesitated. This seemed off. But the caller ID showed an internal Twitter number. The caller knew internal protocols. He even knew the employee's name. So they gave him access, just like that. What that employee didn't know was that Graham had spent weeks researching Twitter's internal structure. He'd found employee names on LinkedIn, studied their posts, learned their language, their culture. He knew exactly what to say to sound legitimate. And within 20 minutes, Graham had access to Twitter's internal admin panel, the most powerful tool in social media, the ability to control any account on the platform. Barack Obama, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, every verified account, every celebrity, every politician, all of them were now in the hands of a 17-year-old kid in Florida. 3 p.m., July 15th. Graham stared at his screen. He could tweet anything, from anyone. Start a war, crash the stock market, spread global chaos. But Graham wasn't interested in chaos. He wanted money. And so, he launched the simplest scam in history. First tweet, from Elon Musk's account. Feeling grateful. I'm giving back to my community. Send Bitcoin to this address and I'll send double back. Only doing this for 30 minutes. then Bill Gates. Everyone is asking me to give back. Here's your chance. Send $1,000 in Bitcoin, get $2,000 back. Then Obama, then Apple, then Uber, all posting the same message, all directing victims to the same Bitcoin wallet. And people believed it because it was coming from verified accounts, from billionaires, from trusted brands. Within minutes, thousands of people started sending Bitcoin. $10,000, $50,000, $100,000. The money poured in. Twitter's security team noticed immediately. Accounts were tweeting without authorization. Verified badges weren't protecting anyone. They tried to regain control, but couldn't. So they did something unprecedented. They shut down all verified accounts. Every blue checkmark on Twitter, frozen. Presidents, celebrities, news organizations, Fortune 500 companies, all silenced. For the first time in Twitter's history, the platform went partially dark, and the world watched in horror.
The FBI moved fast. This wasn't just a hack. This was a national security threat. Within hours, federal agents traced the Bitcoin wallet. They watched as the money flowed in. Over $120,000 in just 3 hours. But Graham had made a mistake. He'd worked with accomplices. 2 other hackers, Mason Shepard, 19, and Nima Fazeli, 22, helped him coordinate the attack. And when the FBI started tracing the Bitcoin transactions, they found Graham's real identity. On July 31st, 2020, just 16 days after the hack, federal agents raided Graham's home in Tampa. They found him in his bedroom, sitting at his computer, calm, almost expecting them. When they arrested him, they found evidence of dozens of previous hacks. Cryptocurrency exchanges, SIM swapping attacks, stolen social media accounts worth millions. Graham had been operating as a digital crime lord from his childhood bedroom. But the most shocking discovery? The Bitcoin he stole wasn't even his biggest score. Investigators found evidence of other wallets, other scams, other victims. Graham had made millions, and most of it was still unaccounted for. The FBI called it one of the most significant cybercrimes in history, not because of the money, but because Graham had exposed a fundamental weakness in the entire digital infrastructure. If a teenager could hack Twitter with a phone call, what else could he have done? Graham was charged with 30 felonies: fraud, hacking, identity theft. If convicted as an adult, he faced over 100 years in prison. But there was a problem. Graham was still a minor when he committed the crime, and Florida law gave prosecutors a choice: try him as a juvenile or as an adult. The prosecutors wanted blood. They argued Graham was a criminal mastermind, a threat to national security. They pushed for the maximum sentence, but Graham's lawyers fought back. They painted a different picture: a lonely, isolated teenager, no criminal record, no history of violence, a kid who got in over his head. On March 16, 2021, Graham accepted a plea deal: 3 years in juvenile detention and 3 years of probation. And he'd be released when he turned 21. The victims were outraged. Twitter called it a slap on the wrist. The FBI said it sent the wrong message to young hackers. But the judge had made a decision. Graham Ivan Clark would serve his time and then walk free. And that's when things got complicated. Graham's arrest sent shockwaves through the hacking community, but it didn't stop the attacks. Within months, copycat hackers started using Graham's exact playbook: phone calls to tech companies, social engineering, insider access.
SIM swapping attacks skyrocketed by 400%. Cryptocurrency exchanges lost billions. Graham had accidentally written the manual for the next generation of cybercriminals. And Twitter? They overhauled their entire security infrastructure. Multi-factor authentication for employees, encrypted internal systems, biometric verification. It cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. But the real damage was to trust. If Elon Musk's account could be hacked, if Barack Obama's account could be compromised, then nothing online was safe. And Graham knew that. In interviews from juvenile detention, he showed no remorse, no apologies, just cold calculation. When asked if he'd do it again, he smiled and said, "I proved it was possible. That's all I wanted to do." Graham was released from detention in April 2024. He's now 21 years old. Officially, he's on probation, banned from using computers, monitored by federal agents. But investigators believe he's still active, operating through encrypted networks, using burner phones, and staying invisible. But here's what most people don't know. The FBI recovered $120,000 from the Twitter hack. But Graham's total earnings? Estimated at over $5 million. And they never found the rest. Investigators believe Graham converted most of his Bitcoin into privacy coins, untraceable cryptocurrency, and hid it in cold wallets scattered across the world. Wallets that only he can access. Which means when Graham turns 21 and completes his probation, he'll still be a multi-millionaire. He didn't just beat the system, he won. And the scariest part? Graham was never the best hacker in the world. He wasn't even close. He just understood something most people refuse to accept. The most sophisticated security in the world means nothing. And that, if someone can just ask nicely, he may overrule the party.